Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So in today's video we're going to be doing a comparison of the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro against the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And I really want to do this comparison for those who are perhaps maybe going to be purchasing an action camera this fall as we head into the holiday season. You're not sure which one to get. And I think this is going to be a good comparison video just for the fact that I think these are the two most exciting action camera releases this year. They both have some great new features. Now in this video I'm not going to get overly opinionated. I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the key selling points of each camera. We're going to play some side-by-side footage, and that way you can decide which one is right for you. At the end of the day, they're both great action cameras, just certain features might be more appealing to different types of users. Now to start out with the build of the camera, both cameras are extremely durable. They're both waterproof right out of the box. You can take these underwater. When you look at the size difference, the Ace Pro 2 is a little bit larger than the Action 5 Pro, so that might be a deciding factor for some people, but they are generally very similar. Now both cameras have removable front lens covers, which can be very important as they are action cameras and sometimes they will get impacts. Now some other physical attributes of the camera which could be a deciding factor for some. When it comes to a front-facing screen, they both have front-facing capabilities, but they do it a little bit differently. The Action 5 Pro has a built-in screen here at the front. This is a touch screen, so you can go ahead and change all your settings. The screen on the Ace Pro 2 just displays different information about recording. If you want a front-facing screen, you have to fold the back out, which is going to be beneficial to some users because as you can see, it gives you a nice large front-facing preview. And then of course you can go there and change all your settings, do what you need to do. Now for some people that might be more inconvenient than anything because if you just want a quick preview, you do have to fold it out every time. But for things like vlogging, where you're trying to get very specific framing, it does make it a little bit easier to see what you're filming. Now both cameras utilize magnetic mounts and they both work very well for what they are. Magnetic mounts are really important to me because I am moving my cameras around from mount to mount quite frequently and it just makes it a lot easier. So both cameras do include magnetic mounts in the box, and both cameras you can purchase additional ones if you want to add them to all your accessories. Interesting feature of the Ace Pro 2 is that this year they included a built-in windscreen and it is removable. If you're going to be going underwater, they have a cap that you put over top. But you would just leave that windscreen on most of the time while you're just filming everyday footage. And it does a really good job at helping get rid of unwanted wind noise. So if you're going to be having this thing mounted on bikes, e-bikes, mountain bikes, different things like that, you're just going to be filming on a windy day with a lot of breeze. You're not connecting any type of other microphone. That can really help get rid of that unwanted wind noise. I did a demonstration of it in my full review of the Ace Pro 2, and it actually works quite well. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to play some footage side by side so you can get a feel of what each camera is capable of. Now, when it comes to low light footage, both the Ace Pro 2 and the Action 5 Pro do an incredible job. They are both leaps and bounds ahead of GoPro when it comes to low light footage. They both do a really good job. There's a lot of detail, the stabilization is good, the coloring is good. Again, it's going to boil down to personal preference. Myself, I don't really film with my action cameras a lot in low light. I have other cameras that I prefer to use in those scenarios, but both cameras are completely capable of filming in low light scenarios. Now, both cameras got a brand new chip this year. The Ace Pro 2 actually has a dual chip, which can be really important for processing footage. And it does help with things like low light and some of the special features that this camera offers. And the Action 5 Pro did get an upgraded chip as well. Now, when it comes to filming and resolution, the Ace Pro 2 can film up to 8K at 30 frames per second, whereas the Action 5 Pro, the max resolution is 4K. Now, that's not going to be really important to most people. Most people aren't going to be filming in 8K. Now, filming in 8K can be beneficial in some scenarios, especially if you want to do some cropping in post. You'll be able to crop in, still export at 4K, but you're still going to have nice high resolution footage. So for some people, that is going to be definitely beneficial. Both cameras are capable of filming in slow motion. Both cameras are capable of 4K 120 frames per second. Now, that 8K sensor also can be beneficial when it comes to zooming. Both cameras are capable of 2x zoom. Now, typically when you zoom in on an action camera, something like the Action 5 Pro, it becomes a digital zoom. So when you're in zoom 2x, it's digital zoom. Whereas the Ace Pro 2 has something called clarity zoom. And because of that 8K sensor, when you zoom in 2x, you're still at full resolution. You're not going to lose any quality. Here's just a quick side-by-side sample. Both cameras were zoomed in 2x, and you can see the Ace Pro 2 just has a little bit more clarity. It's not quite as pixelated. Both cameras are capable of connecting a Bluetooth microphone directly to it, such as the DJI Mic 2 can connect via Bluetooth to both the Ace Pro 2 and to the Action 5 Pro. With the Action 5 Pro, we have the benefit of being able to connect 2 transmitters directly to it. So for some people, that is definitely going to be beneficial. The Action 5 Pro also has the benefit of being able to connect a mic directly to it. For example, if you want to connect the receiver directly to the Action 5 Pro, it'll just plug directly into the side there. You don't have to have any types of adapters. Whereas with the Ace Pro 2, you do need the microphone adapter in order to connect certain microphones. So in that aspect, the Action 5 Pro is just a little bit more convenient if you're going to be connecting different types of microphones to it. The Action 5 Pro has a built-in color temperature sensor, so you're always going to have nice, accurate colors, even underwater. It's located right in the O of action on the front of the camera. The Ace Pro 2 does not have a color temperature sensor built in. Now, it does a pretty good job at getting the right white balance, but the Action 5 Pro can offer just a little bit more accuracy. Both cameras offer quick charging, so you can have both of these cameras charged up to approximately 80% in about 20 minutes. One nice thing about the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 is that they have a lot of different shooting styles built right into it. So for example, if we swipe over and we go to our color profiles, you can see right now it's on standard, but they have vivid, and they have several other ones here, vintage, urban, night, different types of tones and styles depending on what your filming needs are. Now, most of that can be achieved on the Action 5 Pro with color grading, but for those who don't like color grading or don't have the interest in doing that, you can kind of set different styles right on camera. Now, another really nice feature of the Action 5 Pro is it has something called tracking, subject tracking, and with it, it's going to lock you in the center of the screen. Now, it's going to only be filmed at 2.7K because it needs that extra resolution for cropping and moving the image around. But it's super beneficial, especially if you're going to be using the Ace 5 Pro for vlogging. You can just put the camera out in front of you, and you know you're always going to be centered in the screen. That allows you to do your commentary, talking, and you don't have to pay too much attention about where the camera is pointed. Now, you have to generally keep it pointed in your direction, and then the software will do the rest. The DJI Action 5 Pro also has 48 gigabytes of built-in memory. Now, that's not going to be important to everybody, but it is a nice feature because if you end up filling up a memory card while you're out filming and out capturing, you know you're always going to have 48 gigabytes of storage to work with. Both cameras are capable of capturing GPS telemetry data if you want to embed that into your videos. However, both do require the purchase of additional accessories. Now, the Ace Pro 2 has some really interesting features when it comes to recording, just things we haven't seen on other action cameras. The first is it has cancel recording. I'll just show you that here. You can see that we are now recording, but if we decide we don't want this video clip anymore, all we have to do is press and hold the record button, and you can see it gives us the option to cancel the recording, so it's not going to be saved to the memory card. The other thing we can do is actually pause recording. So I'm going to start recording here. You can see that, you might be out filming something, but then the action slows down. So what we can do is just hit the pause button. So it's no longer recording. The video file is still active. We can also pause the recording by hitting the shutter button at the top. When you're done recording and you just want to save the video file to the memory card, we can just hit the stop button there. So for some people, that's going to be a really handy feature as well. And they actually take it a step further. If we go into our photo gallery here, we can pick any one of the files that are currently on the memory card. And you can see we have a recording button down at the bottom. It's saying right now that this video file is 44 seconds. We can tap on that and we can continue recording to that video file. So now when I hit record, you can see the recording starts at 44 seconds. We can stop it. So what I just recorded now has just been added to a video file that I recorded a week ago. So for some people, again, that's going to be a really nice feature. And lastly, on the Insta360 Ace Pro, they have a feature called AI Highlight Assistant. And that's a really nice feature of the Ace Pro 2. It allows the software to automatically add highlights at interesting moments throughout the video. And the reason that is super beneficial, I'm just going to bring up some videos here that I shot. It might be hard to see on camera, but each video file has a little flag with a number. So it's telling us how many auto highlights has been created for that video. So if we click on it, you can see this one says 4. We got the flag down at the bottom. So that means the software has detected 4 key moments in this video that it thinks is an interesting moment. And why that is beneficial is we can click on that, we can jump right to the section and we can preview it, but we can also export just those highlight clips. Each one is 6 seconds long. We can tap up there. We can tell it which highlights we want to export. We hit the save button. We have the option of saving each one as an individual clip, or we can merge just those highlights into one clip. So right now it's exporting all 4 of those clips right to the memory card, just those highlights. And that's beneficial because now if we want to transfer it over to a smartphone for some editing, we don't have to transfer over the whole large file. We can just transfer over the clips that we want. So for some people, that's going to be a great feature. Now, if we go back to the memory card, you can see there's those 6-second clips that it just created. Now, both cameras have companion apps that can be downloaded to both smartphones and tablets. The Ace Pro 2 has the Insta360 app, and with it, it actually runs native on iPads as well. So if you want to do your editing on a full screen iPad, you can do so quite easily. The Action 5 Pro has the DJI Mimo app, which is really designed for smartphones. It will run on an iPad, but it just won't run full screen, but it can be utilized. Both apps are extremely powerful and very beneficial. You can use them as remotes, preview shots, transfer content, and of course do some editing. When it comes to preference, I think that the Insta360 one is very well done. It's extremely powerful, very robust. It's got a lot of very useful tools in it. But again, at the end of the day, that just boils down to personal preference. Now, as mentioned, that was just a few selling points of each camera. Of course, there's a lot more features of each camera. If you are interested in a specific camera, I will include my full review to each one so you can watch it more in detail, going over all the features of each camera. At the end of the day, they're both great cameras. You just have to decide what features and capabilities are most important to you. Well, folks, that's my comparison of the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you found it had value. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.